The theme of session 1 of the Rolfing series is breathing. Breathing is very important, not only for life, but for how it can affect our well-being and our posture. The average person breathes around 20,000 times a day. And clearly you can see that if you're doing something 20,000 times a day, it might affect your posture. So if you're just breathing shallowly in the abdomen and not getting breath up to here, this can encourage you to be a little bit hunched forward because of that repetition and the activity impacting on the posture. But in fact, it's a vicious circle, because not only is the breathing a postural driver, i.e. it affects your posture, but also your posture will affect your breathing. If you're sitting at your desk like this, hunched over for many hours a day, you can see how that habit of leaning over and hunching here will restrict your capacity to get breath further up. And this is a common thing that I see. So often when a person comes in for the first session of Rolfing, many people aren't that aware of their breathing. It's quite a habit to think and hold our breath. And people don't realize that there is a lot of capacity for breathing in what we call the thoracic cage. In fact, the name thoracic cage implies that there's no movement. Cage implies no movement, but there is much movement available in the ribs, in the intercostal muscles between the ribs, and in the diaphragm. And we encourage you to be aware of this in the Rolfing session 1. So to achieve the effects of improving breathing, we look at the dimensions of the breath in terms of, can you get a good breath into the side of your ribs? Do you have the capacity to get a breath from the abdomen all the way up to the clavicles? And can you get breath into your back? 60% of lung volume is in the back. But many people don't use that because of the old computer habit. So we would spend some time with hands-on to encourage that exploration of the omnidirectional potentiality of breathing. And in terms of tissue work and manipulation of the tissues, we of course do work around the thoracic cage, around the sternum, around the clavicles, and the ribs and the muscles between the ribs. And other structures do impact the breathing that you might not think do and are relevant to it, like the neck, the hips, and the sacrum. And we would touch on those areas too, but in a relatively superficial way, because these are areas that will be explored on a much deeper level in subsequent sessions. And my goal for you as a client coming to a first session is that you would go away motivated to be more curious about your breathing, wanting to explore your breathing, and I might give you a couple of very simple exploratory exercises to do that. So that's session 1.